Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Zappy here, back again with Hunter x Hunter. We're on episode 113, and in the last episode, we got underway with the mission to invade the palace and take on the king and the royal guards. And the last two episodes were my favourite of the show so far. I just think they were really well presented, with especially within episode 111. With like just the sheer short time period in which the whole episode took place, and also the way the narrator was basically he was narrating the whole episode, which is something that the narrator doesn't really do. So that was really cool. And yeah, just erupting in chaos, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, the end of episode 112, which was last episode, we had Netero and Zeno appear before King Meruem, and Komugi is critically injured right now, and Neferpito is taking care of her, whilst the king takes Netero and Zeno to somewhere else to fight. So that is going to be insane. And yeah, other than that, we have Gon, Killua, who have made their way past Youpi at this point. So I imagine they are. I don't know who they're going to come up against next. It could be Shia, I suppose. But we also have Knuckle, who is with Mello right now, and underneath the, basically undetectable. But I'm wondering how long it's going to take before Youpi actually, begins to suspect something's up. I mean, he already is kind of suspecting, but we'll see. Basically, it looks like Shoot is trying to keep, obviously, the focus and attention on him, away from what's going on with Knuckle and everything like that, but he does have the insurance bankruptcy fucking thing on him, and whilst God's accomplice is active, you can't actually see the bankruptcy fucking mascot thing either. So that's pretty cool, the way that sort of like works in tandem with each other. And also Morel is there as well. So yeah, I mean, we've just got chaos erupting. Akalgo's gone to find Palm, and yeah, I'm just excited to get into this now that like shit is finally like paying off. Like we're deep within the mission right now, and I'm excited. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about. So we're just going to get into episode 113 and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go. Okay, episode 113, right, we are continuing on. We had Gon, Killua, and Morel all get past. And that was a great little moment there as well, how I loved the, like, just the sort of, like, togetherness with Morel, Knuckle, and Shoot. And how, the Shoot and Knuckle were working as sort of, like, support, so that Morel could get by and then also come away with his pipe at the end. That was really cool. Especially Shoot as well. Like, because his leg is fucked, now he just has to balance throughout the whole fight. Like, that's just another level of just, like... It's like, trying to imagine that kind of shit. Like, it's the last thing you would want to be, like, to have to focus on. Like, in a fight, like, wondering where... I suppose that's what makes it a good matchup, and the best matchup that they could have hoped for out of the three, because, because Youpi is mostly defense, it means that I guess he's less inclined to attack, which means that you don't have to focus on dodging attacks all the time, like, all of the time and stuff. But yeah, that was cool, him coming, like, out of the smoke, floating up on one of his hands. Never even thought about that. But then neither did Shoot. The narrator was explaining that at this, like, point in time, it was just something that had I guess just due to the nature of the situation that they're in, it kind of just becomes a case of, like, well, it's kind of like, I have to do this. I have to come up with something, otherwise I'm just gonna sit here and die, essentially. So that was really cool. I also love the fact that he was placing, like, his sort of, I don't even know what you call, I suppose it's like his robe that it just comes out at one side, attaching it over his eye as a way to sort of fake out what kind of powers he has. And I think that's that goes back to when was it first described? Was it no, it was Hisoka, I think, that was talking about it, how it's best to sort of keep your... I mean, I suppose it's been explained in a lot of different places, but the idea is that it's better off to not let your enemy know exactly what your power is, so that you have the utmost advantage in a fight. The only thing I would say is that against Youpi, I'm not really sure to what degree it really matters how much he knows your power or not. Because I was going to say at one point when Morel used the deep purple thing as distractions and whatnot, like at one point I was going to say during the reactions, like, well, he is all beast, like there's no human in him. So I wonder if that correlates to his... I think it does. I think that makes him like more stupid or more gullible. Like, you're able to sort of psych him out more, and like, I think the mental game is more like an easier way to fight him would be to like fuck with him mentally, you know, and like break him down that way. Because I don't think he's as smart. Whereas the likes of Nefapito and Shia, like they have some form of sort of intellect there. Even though like Shire at this point is kind of broken. For the slightest moment, he almost garnered some hatred for the king, because in his mind the king should not be caring for a human at all. You know, and it's crazy to see like his just sheer like 180 where like he's crying his eyes out. And then he goes to like dead eye, and it's no longer crying. It's just like just a total fucking like split in his head, because I feel like he's had that for a couple of not even a couple, quite a few episodes now, where he's fighting against the idea of like doing everything for his king, but it's what's best for the king and what the king wants, you know. And it's interesting that he has this sort of way of thinking about it, that he himself determines what's best for the king, you know what I mean? Meaning that in some way, some part of him believes that he knows better than the king, you know, which, you know, that's why I keep saying that Shia is sort of like having a fight with himself, because it's like the idea is that he's supposed to serve the king, but then he feels like he's, you know, in some way he feels like he knows better. So, you know, it's kind of like just going against himself, and he's like, you know, being his own hypocrite in a way. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. At the start of the fight between, like, you know, I guess nothing's really happened between Morel and Shia yet, but I'm just scared for him. I'm scared for Morel, because I just feel like, because we've had so many fights with him over the past, you know, however many episodes, where he's fought Cheeto and then he's fought Morel. I'm sure I actually said it in one of the episodes. It's like, fucking hell, like Morel's getting a fight like every other episode. You know, he was just like he's been in the midst of it throughout the whole sort of ordeal. And at this point, it's an entirely different enemy, and you know, Shia's got to be way better than them. Now, the thing is just like, all I'm thinking is, what's his fighting style? I mean, we saw him do the thing with, like, you know, it looks like he's trying to hypnotize him, and I said in the reaction, I don't know exactly to what degree that's really going to work. Whether Morel can use the smoke to completely, like, disregard that. Because otherwise, I don't see why Morel would be able to block it, unless it's specifically, because it will be a Nen ability, right? So theoretically you would think that Nen would also be able to block it and defend against it, I suppose. So at the end it has to come down to physical attacks, right? Has to. And the only time we've really seen Shia do any physical attacks was like last episode, in episode 112, when he like was like going through and like punching and kicking all of the falling debris. You know, so it's going to have to come down to that at some point, and I don't know. I mean, I don't want his time to be up yet. I really don't. But there is that, like, sort of death flag of him, like, you know, saying that after this we'll all have to go for a drink so I can give you a big hug and whatnot, and like, it's too nice to not fuck that up. And I mean, I would be surprised if all of them came out of this alive. You know, like, how is that going to happen? I have to say that I can't see it happening. So in some form or fashion, somebody's going out, and I don't know. I feel like it could be Morel. So we'll just have to wait and see, because it could be just like a case of, in the background we've been told that Shia is like, you know, he's not really the fighting type. He's not the strong type physically, and then all of a sudden he'll break out something that'll just be like, well, we underestimated him. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. And then we had Gon and Killua, who obviously, yeah, they did make it by. And at some point they did reach. They got together with Ikalgo at some point. Like, they passed him. So I guess they didn't make it up the stairs then. Because you saw when they came out of the portal, Ikalgo was already, like, he came out and exited to a completely different way. He never even went up the stairs, right? So I guess Gon and Killua never made it up the stairs, but the thing is that they were past Knuckle already, right? And Knuckle managed to stay up on that part, so I don't know. But at some point they were on the same level, so I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so Gon and Killua ended up splitting up at some point, and because of the fact that they are doing this thing where the course of the episodes are actually only taking place in real time over the course of, like, you know, I don't even know if we've even gone through a minute yet. I don't even think we have. So it's just going to be like one of those things where Gon is going to get there. I don't know, because he was there, like, watching the King and Netero and Zeno walk. You know, like, that's got to take up time. And Killua's not, he's not slow. But I feel like it's going to get to a point where Gon is already there, and then Killua's going to come in at some point. You know, like during the fight, when the fight's already begun. I don't know, but I feel like that shouldn't really work. Though, actually, now that I think about it, yeah, they didn't know when Neferpito was, right? It was only at the end there when Netero give him the heads up, which was great, by the way. I love that. That's probably the coolest thing I've seen him do. Like, just going, yeah, I mean, that's great. I love that. Like, because it's just like a, like, how would you describe it? It's just like an acceptance of that Netero has given Gon. Like, and that moment, I just thought all the way back to that, like, the Hunter exam, when Netero had this, like, you know, like thought about Gon, and it's just we've come so far. We've come so far, and Netero just, like, giving him, like, you know, she's in there. I love it. I love that. But yeah, you only gave that to Gon, and Killua wasn't there, so it could be a case of Killua, like, roaming around, like, trying to find him, if Gon's already there, you know. But yeah. Oh god. Yeah, so at some point, yeah, they did split up. Killua obviously going to take out the grunts that were in Ikalgo's way, which in the end kind of, I don't know, because I figured that because he was, I mean, the whole point of him using Flutter as a disguise is to get in there without, you know, like, drawing attention to himself, right? Like, I figured the idea was he was using that as a disguise so that, you know, he wouldn't have to fight. So I always supposed to assume that, like, Ikalgo would have gotten attacked by the grunts? And if that's the case, why though? You know, because they were just regular grunt, like the ones that can't even speak English, right? They only, like, you know, they can understand English but they can't speak it. It was them ones, right? Like, they don't have any real authority to be attacking those higher up, which Flutter actually is. So I don't know. So unless it's a case of Killua just, because it was a case of where Killua was confused and this is something that he doesn't normally do, but he went and did it, and it was just on a case of, like, he didn't know why he was doing it. So in theory, would Ikalgo have been absolutely fine? Would he have been able to just pass them? And then even Welfin wouldn't have even seen anything happen. So, in a weird turn of events, has Killua actually made it hard for Ikalgo to do anything? You know? I don't know. Because I feel like the idea was he was using the disguise, so I don't know why they would have attacked him, but... And it just had to be the detective dude, didn't it? The detective Chimera Ant that was just looking on. For fuck's sake. Oh, God. I mean... Because he was talking about, like, you know, oh, is he doing this, like, for his own gain kind of thing? And it's like, well, yeah, because, like, pretty much all of them are. Cheeto is, and Leol was before he died. And, you know, they all had their own plan to overcome the king anyway. So, it kind of worked in Ikalgo's favour for now. I mean, Welfin did go back into the showers like, maybe I can use this. So, yeah, I mean, but I hope Ikalgo's going to be alright, man. I feel like he will. But at some point, there's going to be tension, and it's not going to be good. So yeah, hopefully, like, Ikalgo can meet up with Palm. They've never met up before, have they? So how is he going to, like, if he finds her, how is he going to... how is he going to be able to tell her, like, oh, by the way, I'm on your side? You know? I don't know. I just don't know. So yeah, I mean, Gon at the end there. Gon, just raring to go. It looked like for a second like he had black aura, you know? And you know it's about to get serious when Gon's like that. It's insane. So yeah, let's just continue on. Every episode is great right now. Like, it's just continuously fucking great, you know. But that's why you have the setup. That's why you have the long setup, because you get to a point where every episode, like, it's just great constantly, always. It's amazing. I love it. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I've got. I suppose Knuckle. Yeah, I mean at some point Mellow's gonna have to breathe, and at that point, I think the idea was Knuckle was supposed to be able to, like, get to the bankruptcy limit of that's on the opponent, right, before Mello has to take a breath. And he's already said that he's like powers at like what he's able to, like, he's got like what 700,000 or something, and he's done what 538 or something. God, it's just never gonna happen. There's no way he's going to be able to sustain enough damage to him before Mello has to take a breath. He said he can do it for what, a minute? How much time's passed? He had to have taken a breath before he went through. In that amount of time, I would probably say... How much time? Possibly half a minute to 40 seconds. So he's probably got, like, what, 20 seconds left of his own... I mean, he said he can do it for 2 minutes, but in the sheer chaos, he said that it would... So maybe he can hold out for a little bit longer. Yeah, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what that is. I mean, but I have a lot of respect for Shoot right now, because right now he is the only target of Youpi right now, because Knuckle is invisible and undetectable, whereas Shoot is like, you know, so he's basically, it's like he's on his own. I mean, Knuckle can provide like some, like, you know, distractions by getting hits on Youpi and like making him go, oh, you know, but really, when you're like the sole focus of this thing looking at you, it's scary, man. And he's known as the coward, so, but you know, the only time you can be brave is when you fear something anyway, so there you go. But yeah, that's all I got for episode 113. So thank you everyone for watching. In the description below I have links to certain things. One of them is the Discord, so you can get yourself over there if you want. And I also have a Patreon page as well, so if you do want to support me on Patreon, that'd be very much appreciated. I'm trying to get to doing this full time again like I did in 2018, so if you can help me out with that, that'd be very much appreciated. It also means that I'll be able to get out more content for you, as opposed to you know, the slight drop off that I've had this well, it would have been 2019 by the time this episode comes out on YouTube anyway. But yeah, so there's a bunch of different tiers and rewards that you can support me with if you will. There's the early access tier, $5 a month, gives you access to shows a week early, and you get 4 episodes of Hunter x Hunter every week. That's 2 on Monday and 2 on Friday, as opposed to the general public that only get access to 2 episodes a week. So by the time this episode comes out in the general public, for the general public. You'll be able to become an early access tier patron and have access to the rest of the reactions to the show, because I'll be finished by that point, and it means that if you can binge watch the entire show within like a month, it's only going to cost you $5 for the rest of the reactions, so it's a pretty good deal. There's also a full-length tier there for $10 a month. That doesn't really matter for this show, but for other shows you will need that, so bear that in mind. And there's other tiers where you can pay to have me react to a show. So if you want me to react to a show, then go have a look at those tiers and see what they offer. But that's all I've got, so thank you and watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.